Okay, let's have a look round the Hungaroring. Quite a short straight. If you get a good exit from the final corner, you just about hit 6th gear. As you're coming into turn 1, first of all you'll realise it's downhill braking, and there's a lack of brake markers. Normally we sort of get 150, well 200, 150, 150. We've just got the 50 here, 50 metres. However, if we go up to the corner, keeping as far to the left as you can, and you'll see this patch here and the white line here. Cold tyres, first couple of laps I'm sort of braking around about here, and as the tyres get up to pressure then I'll be braking more or less on this line here. As I say, it's a downhill corner. The first 2-3 corners are all downhill, so you can expect the car to pick up understeer if you're going too quickly, and on the braking of course there is more chance of a lock-up, so you've got to brake very hard here in a straight line, and then release the brakes as you turn in. Put in standard stuff really. Take the apex here, the corner then opens up. It's very much like Parabolica at Monza, in so much as the slowest part of the corner is on entry, and the final part of this corner is on acceleration. So as we go forward, and you can see we're hitting the brake now. Full brake, straight line, coming off the brake as we start to turn in. Looking for the apex if we can. Here we go. You will appear, or it feels, should I say, we were 80 kilometres on the apex. Let's see if it goes down any further. No, minimum speed of 80 kilometres. It feels as if you should be going quicker, but you know, if you do try to push it mid-corner, the car will push out and you'll run the risk of an off-track. So now it's a question of getting the power down as best you can. The car will be loose. You noticed a couple of corrections there. And then down to turn 2, again downhill. I mean, at this point you can see the track dipping away around the bend. 100 marker here, that's pretty much all we've got. I use the start of this curb on the right as my marker. Again, you want to brake very hard here, very hard, and then release the brakes and just a touch of throttle now, but holding a bit of brake to keep the weight on the front, and then as soon as you can get back to throttle. You don't have to go all the way out. Get back as far as you can to the left, and then turn in very early for this one. This is absolutely flat. And then we come to turn 4 at the top of the hill, which is quite a difficult corner. it's difficult to go quickly without getting the off track. I will use, I'm in 5th gear now, I will use the curb here. Now the apex is around about here, so it's blind as well. You've got to be able to pick up this point, because if you wait until you can see it, you're too late. You've got to start turning in before you actually see the corner. If you leave it any, you know, if you can see the corner when you're turning in, you will be too late. Just move this slightly forward. So we've got down to 4th, and then down to 3rd. Okay. And then we can go back to throttle. Now, if you go beyond the green, if you go onto this sort of brownish colour, you will get an off track. If you go further across, you get a slow down. We were just in there. Coming into this corner, I'm just looking at the gear. We're turning in 3rd. I think I go down to 2nd, usually around about here. And obviously not this time. Sometimes, if you can't get to the apex, just drop it down to 2nd, just to get that little bit extra rotation. And here, I keep it until I hit the rev limiter, and at the start of the curb in here, just let's come back. At the start of the curb is my braking. We're in 3rd gear, and we'll brake and then turn down to 2nd gear. There you go, 2nd gear. Now we can take quite a bit of curb here without getting an off track. If you take too much, you will definitely get an off track, but you can be quite greedy. This is a clean lap, and the same here. You can take the same amount on this curb, not too much, but you can definitely cut that corner there, which I'm there. That's it. The car runs that curve quite comfortably. 2nd gear. Now we're accelerating. Oops. And this here, now we'll go to 2nd gear. You can accelerate from the apex. And again this corner, sometimes you might find that 2nd gear works well. 3rd gear is definitely quicker, but you do run the risk of getting an off track on the exit. That was clear, but if you go right onto that AstroTurf, you will get a cut. Here now we're up to 4th gear, very fast bend this one. 4th gear, get on the curb on the left, and we need to try and make, I turned in a little bit too early here. I would have liked to have been a bit later on the apex and hit the throttle on the exit. Again, you can use the green curb in, but if you go beyond the green, you will get an off track. Coming down here, we can go up into 5th gear at the end, and then the braking, oops, sorry, There we go. So the braking is basically the beginning of the curb, and we want to go down into second gear. Once we're into the apex, we can then get back to throttle, be very gentle going back to throttle, and picking it up, picking it up, picking it up, picking it up, straighten the car up, and then to full throttle. Again, if you're running that curb there, you're fine. If you go onto the too much onto the AstroTurf, you'll get an off track. This is a difficult one to pick up. Very difficult. You could use the Marshall's post here, I suppose, for brake reference. Most of the corners on this track, turn 1, I use that white line, as I said. Turn 2, I use the start of the curb. After that, most of my, I don't actually use references as such. I just use my vision. I'll be looking at the apex and judging my braking and turning from my vision to the apex. I won't be, I don't actually look for anything by the side of the track, if it was, as it were. So yeah, into this one, second gear, and this corner tempts you to get back on that throttle, but you've got to be so patient. We've got a lot of steering lock on, so you've got to be very patient before you go back to full throttle. We're basically straight and go full throttle now, but it really does tempt you to put that throttle down, but you know, you just spin. Here, this is quite interesting. I come in quite tight here. Around about here, where the cursor is now, there is a terrible bump, and it throws the car to one side or the other, completely unsettles it. Just at the moment you really want to, you want traction, you're going over this bump. So by coming in early, you avoid the bump. It also is very useful to get your wheel onto this curb here, this brownish curb. If you can get your wheel onto there, it sort of pulls the car round. It does help with the rotation, and you can then, once you're on there, you can actually hit the throttle. On the exit of this corner, you can the off track is very generous. You can have all four wheels off the track here, and you don't pick up a penalty. You can go with these left hand wheels on the AstroTurf, and it's fine. So I'll run a lap now in real time. Just bear one sec. Okay, and that was with Joel's set that he posted in the forum. I think it's 2060 or something like that. 2060 Hungaroring. I don't know if it's is it in here? Doesn't say, but yeah, it's the set that Joel posted. And that's it. If you've got any questions, PM me. Otherwise, have fun, and I hope this helps. Cheers.